In the early 1990s, Michael Jackson would get some of the first accusations about his brand, and this is how he started to lose a lot of support.
Holy shit, boy, this will be looking scary as hell. Michael Jackson's new movie is causing this problem.
Where you at, Berto?
Just be, hey. I'm not gonna do too much yapping in the beginning, but I did just watch the new Michael Jackson movie. And I want to say right off the bat, I did enjoy the movie. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. You know, you're smiling for 90% of the movie. It's a great time, a great experience. I do have my gripes though. And I am somebody that is a self-acclaimed movie critic. Very good one at that. There was definitely areas where I felt like there could be improvement. But overall, it was a pretty damn great time. And I have two different rankings for this movie. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's get right into the video, man. Make sure you guys stick around because if you never want to miss amazing moments, I actually did this on stream. Link in the description. Join the Twitch stream. Join the Where You At family so you never miss a live reaction. And I broke down and showed you guys that I was actually part of the Jackson 5. I bet a lot of you guys didn't know that. I was actually part of the Jackson 5. If you didn't know, 29 years old.
Between the years of 1984 and 1985, Michael Jackson was larger than life. He wasn't just known in America. He was known all over the world. And because of how he grew up as a child prodigy, he didn't get a lot of chance to have privacy or even to meet a lot of personal friends. And it just happened to be that he was in New York City at Helmsley Palace Hotel around this time where he befriended this particular general manager there, a guy by the name of Dominic Cascio Sr. Now, Dominic Cascio Sr. and Michael Jackson would become somewhat of buddies. And believe it or not, Michael Jackson was drawn to this particular family, the Cascio family, because they were just so normal. And because of that normalcy, he actually went to their house and, believe it or not, spent the night. He was there for Sunday dinners. He was like
I ain't gonna lie though, respect to the GOAT, but holy man, this nigga be looking scary as fuck in some of these pictures, boy. But shit. Like, fucking, that's why they put this nigga in a scary movie, bro. I wonder if they're gonna put Michael Jackson in the new scary movie.
Part of their family. In essence, Michael Jackson was a person that never grew up, which is why he would have the...
He really was like a man-child. And, you know, again, I mean no disrespect. I know Michael Jackson in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think everybody respected his music and his talent across the world, but he tended to be a very controversial type of person, you know, based with the allegations that he was getting. But I think the reality is, man, if I had to place my finger on it, and I know YouTube's going to give me a field day with this one because there's just so many mixed reviews with him. I just think, bro, that was genuinely it. Like, he just never grew up. I feel like, I dare say, this might be a crazy take, I dare say he might have been a little bit like autistic in a way. Like, have y'all noticed that some of the most talented people are always off just a little bit? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Like, you know, with all the things that he dealt with his dad, and then just the pressure of being this super talented individual. Bro was 5 years, well, how old was he? I think he was like 10 years old, 10 years old, a megastar at 10 years old on a level that no artist could even dream of being today. I just don't think he ever got a chance to grow up. And I think that's where you see somebody who was pure-hearted, was a good person, wanted to do the right thing, wanted to spread so much love and joy into the world. He saw that innocence in children and he like gravitated towards that, but people spun that and twisted it to make it into something that it wasn't. That's my opinion on it. I don't think Michael Jackson was an evil person. I really don't. Again, I don't know for sure. I wasn't there, and I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on it, but that's just genuinely what I think.
Everland Ranch in California, which we'll get into. But Dominic Sr. and his wife Connie and their children adopted Michael Jackson as a part of the family. And to be honest, Michael Jackson did a lot for this family. He actually hired Dominic Cascio Sr. to move to California and become not only part of a general manager, but access to the properties. I mean, Dominic went all over the world with Michael Jackson. In the early 1990s, Michael Jackson would get some of the first accusations about his brand. And this is how he started to lose a lot of support with people in society. And this was with a family by the name of the Chandlers. Now, Jordan Chandler was underage at the time. They were able to sue Michael Jackson for $23 million. And that was a big hit to Michael Jackson's image. Then in 2005, another family came out and tried to sue Michael Jackson. And guess who came?
Holy shit, boy, this nigga be looking scary as hell on screen.
To the defense of Michael Jackson at this particular time? Dominic Cascio.
Let's start with your meeting the accuser, what you know about John Doe. When did you meet him?
Several years ago, about maybe 4 years ago I met him.
Okay.
And one thing I'm very upset about is this one person has an alias named John Doe. Why don't they say his name? Why is it always Michael Jackson's name in the media having to get distorted?
This is Dominic Cascio castigating the family by calling themselves John Doe. He's saying, look, why don't you come out and tell who you are? And we also would find out who that family was. Gavin Arvizo. They tried to sue Michael Jackson for some of the same things everybody else did, but Michael Jackson was actually acquitted in this particular trial where he didn't have to spend any money. His name would already be tarnished because of what happened in the 90s, but with the support of his good buddy Dominic Cascio, everything was all good. Remember, Dominic Cascio had a wife by the name of Connie and 4 kids: Frank, Dominic Jr., Maureen Nicole.
What's good, Valka? Welcome to the stream.
Want to see even more reactions? Tap into Berto Extra.
Huh? Oh, no! There's no way you can go out like that. Yo, butterflies are low-key terrifying in the face, bro. That's crazy.
Where you at, Berto?
2009, unfortunately, we have a bad situation occurring because Michael Jackson would die on June 25th, 2009 at the age of 50. He was preparing for his This Is It
Relatively very young to lose your life.
Comeback concert residency in London, and his death was ruled a homicide caused by acute propofol intoxication.
Yeah.
It was so bad, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in 2011. That is how bad it was. So Michael Jackson passes away. Dominic Cascio was his man, 50 grand while he was alive. And that should be the end of the story, right? In 2019, there would be a very scathing documentary called Leaving Neverland, Surviving Michael Jackson. This was, in fact, released.
Did y'all watch this? I didn't hear about this. I might need to go watch this.
By HBO. And
by
it
HBO?
would talk about the lives of 2 young men who knew Michael Jackson, Wade Robson and James Safechuck. And again, this also did a lot of damage to the brand of Michael Jackson.
How did you feel about that, Kerry,
enough,
since you watched
despite
it?
how bad this documentary did to the estate of Michael Jackson, these guys never got any money. HBO actually got sued from Michael Jackson's estate because they broke some kind of rule, and HBO settled out of court with Michael Jackson's estate.
Damn. You said it was disturbing. Do you feel like there was any truth to it? Do you feel as if, because again, I gave y'all my opinion, but I didn't see this. And again, I'm never gonna co-sign no weirdo activity. I gave my genuine opinion based off of the things that I know. So I'm not trying to fucking, flip-flop, but I'm also not defending weirdo-ness. You know what I'm saying? Is some of this stuff, could it be taken with a grain of salt? Or did it feel very factual?
Damn! But this was not all that it seems. Michael Jackson's estate wouldn't be out of the clear. Because guess who would come back looking for some money? The Cascio family. Shortly after the Neverland released documentary, the Cascio family did something that Wade Robson and James Safechuck wouldn't do. They would capitalize on the fact and say, listen, we have all of these charges against Michael Jackson. He groomed us. He raped us. You know, the 4 of the kids. This is what happened. Now, this is interesting because Dominic Cascio spent all of this time defending Michael Jackson's honor. He lived on the Neverland Ranch with Michael Jackson. And so now the same father who's benefited from Michael Jackson is now allowing his kids to come out and say, Michael Jackson was hurting me. So let me just ask you this.
The fuck?
If you live in a certain place with your 4 children and your wife, and something is happening to your kids, would you not know that something is going wrong?
Yeah, that's weird. That's very, very weird. I need to lock in, man. Let me... it's going to be hard for me to give my authentic opinion in this video because I now feel as if I need to go and watch that documentary for myself.
I mean, just think about it. Either you know something is going wrong and you're just ignoring it, or nothing is going wrong. Either one is still bad parenting. But if A is correct, meaning that your kids were being mistreated by Michael Jackson in that way, and yet you did nothing about it, that makes you less of a man. But then you're going out and saying, well, we didn't know, or the kids are saying, we didn't know that he was basically brainwashed.
If you love Michael Jackson, you'll hate that doc. I mean, shit, I love Michael Jackson, but I don't know Michael Jackson, and I have no loyalty to nothing. Nothing that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know that nigga. I love Michael Jackson as an artist, and I love his music. So, I mean, again, I mean that in the most respectful way, but, I mean, shit. It's no different. I'm not as of now saying that I think Michael Jackson is a bad person, because I already told y'all what I think. And that's what I genuinely think. But I mean, fuck. I probably would have said the same thing about R. Kelly until there's just 100% evidence saying otherwise. So, you know, that's what I mean, that I ain't got no loyalty to these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Berto, you got to watch out because what you said is very clippable. I mean, I guess, bro, you're right, but it's also like, I can't control. Like, I'm just saying authentic things. Berto, a few minutes ago. Hey, like I said, bro, I love his music. I love his music. And as far as I can tell, as a fan, I don't think I gave y'all my opinion. But if evidence were saying 100% that bro was on some other shit, like, I'm not gonna sit here and defend a nigga that I don't know. Like, that is not me. That is not me.
Watching us and doing this.
At the end of the day, bro, I am a supporter of innocent until proven guilty. And that is something that seems to have gotten lost in translation. Innocent until proven guilty. Shit, I like Tory Lanez, but he's in jail. Man, we're not going to say too much about that. Free Tory.
Until we got older. And this is something that many of the people who sued Michael Jackson's estate, they use that, particular same thing. It wasn't until I got older until I realized what he was doing to me.
Much love, stop the cap.
And then we get to April 24th, 2026. This is when Antoine Fuqua releases the biopic called Michael. And, well,
critics are calling it extraordinarily sanitized. The performances are getting praised, the songs are recreated almost perfectly, but everything that makes Michael complicated, they cut. And there's a reason that they cut it. Antoine Fuqua was making a full career biopic. It was $155 million. Everyone had said that Jafar Jackson's performance as his uncle was uncanny, but mid-production, the estate's lawyers caught something in an old contract. The contract in the 1993 settlement with the Chandler family, the family of Michael's first accuser, has a clause in it that prohibits the portrayal of their family in any Michael Michael Jackson film ever. The scenes covering the 1993 allegations were reportedly cut, and they had to reshoot for 22 days, making the budget climb to over $200 million. The family settled reportedly for around $23 million. No criminal charges were filed. Michael denied the allegations his entire life. That's the family that the movie can't legally portray, and that's why it ends in 1987.
So,
okay, well, let me get some more yaps off here. My official thoughts on the movie, again, was a great time. It was a great experience. It was a fun experience. If you like Michael Jackson's catalog and music, like, I would say it was a good time, and it's hard to take it as anything else. But if you are a genuine enjoyer of storytelling, a genuine enjoyer of like plot and getting deep within the mix of everything, it really lacked there. You know, every few seconds you look up, it was a concert. Like, it almost felt like a musical. It almost felt like it was one of those movies just following an artist around, and we're watching a movie of him performing to a crowd. And while we can enjoy that, again, if you enjoy Michael Jackson music, it's going to be a great time. It didn't really it didn't get too personal. It didn't get too deep. It didn't get into the controversies. It didn't get into the allegations and just the things that he was battling. It didn't get into, it alluded to, his insecurities, but it didn't really show us. It didn't give us much depth. So that's where it's one of those things. If I had to rate it on viewer experience, just on if I had a good time, 1 through 10, I'd give it a strong 8.5. I'd give it a strong 8.5. I had fun. My feet were moving in the chair the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? I'm dancing. Everybody is a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like somebody that enjoys movies and content and likes to break things down and like really follow the storyline and get hit emotionally at different beats, honestly, bro, it's kind of like a 6. It's kind of like a 6. It didn't really do that for me. So, but with this knowledge, it looks like maybe that was their intention, but they had to kind of shift gears because they weren't allowed to. But that's very interesting to me now.
There are certain things in the movie that obviously is not going to be out there. Now, this is important because the movie has done over $200 million in box office sales, and it really has painted, from what I understand, Michael Jackson in a very good light. The life of Michael Jackson ended in 2009, but it stopped.
Dang, a 6. Wild take, Berto. Again, I have 2 ratings. I had 2 ratings. That 6 as far as is based off of it not getting that deep. But if you just want to have a good time, you want to, walk out of the movie theater with a smile on your face and feeling like dancing, it was an 8.5. And I would consider that a very good rating. So, but it's just 2 separate scales there. And if I had to give it an overall, I would maybe give it a 7. Because it's hard to ignore the, like, you are going to have a good time watching the film. If you don't have a good time watching the film, I'm going to just think you're honestly just hating. Did you watch his This Is It film? I think so, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
1987, when Michael Jackson had largely no allegations against him. And so right before this, Biopic was supposed to be released. This
the
same
acting
Cascio
was very
family
good. The acting was
is
very
suing
good.
Michael Jackson.
Great casting.
Now, it's important to know that secretly in 2020, they got about $14 million, all right? They have been getting paid that from the state for a long time. Now, this doesn't mean that Michael Jackson was guilty of any of this. It just was better to keep it under wraps because they had leverage, and it would have looked bad for former people, insiders who knew Michael Jackson, to then come out and say that this abuse happened. So they paid each of the 4 siblings $2.8 million over 5 years. In exchange, the Cascio signed
Shit.
a non-disclosure agreement and promised not to sue or to speak publicly. But then that didn't happen. In January 2026, they appeared in a Beverly Hills courtroom, and they weren't suing for abuse. They were trying to stop private arbitration. They were trying to say that this dispute behind closed doors was actually hush money and it was illegal. And now they wanted a public trial. And so that happened officially on February 27, 2026, when 4 of the siblings filed a massive federal lawsuit in Los Angeles. And
when I was retained by the Cascio family, the first thing I did was have each of the 5 siblings give me sworn testimony on video. I ended up with 10 hours of testimony detailing the horrific abuse they suffered at the hands of Michael Jackson. At the invitation of Marty Singer, the lawyer for the estate, I showed him an hour of that video, and his response was, "This will never see the light of day. We're going to resolve this. Make me an offer." I made an offer, and instead of him honoring his word, he took that and went public and accused me of extortion as a defense to...
Man, this is one of them ones I don't even know, bro, because that's crazy. But it also feels like a lot of he say, she say too. But I'll say this. I can't necessarily be mad at anybody that is willing to take the side that Michael Jackson is guilty. You know, because I've gotten on here multiple times and I've said, hey, man, where there's smoke, there's probably fire. And there's just, why is this situation so weird? But I gave y'all my cope in the beginning of this video. I do think Michael Jackson was a little weird. I do think he did a lot of weird things. But my cope is that it wasn't with ill intention. That's my cope. But I guess we'll never really know, man. I guess we'll never really know.
Addressing the actual crimes that were committed.
The timing of this was epic. Like, filing the suit just as the Michael biopic was hitting the theaters was seen by many as a strategic move to maximize pressure on the estate. I believe now what they're looking for is something in the upwards of $200 million plus.
Shit.
And I just wanted to talk about this and kind of spin it in my own way. Number one, Michael Jackson, despite...
What would you have to see to confirm that he's guilty? I mean, you know, with the Diddy situation, we got hard footage, you know what I'm saying? With the Epstein files, we got hard documentation, you know, like multiple people involved, emails, conversations, and maybe it's just harder to obtain that in Michael's situation, but it's just like, all of this comes down to a lot of he say, she say. Does it not feel that way? Am I tripping? Do you think I'm tripping?
His international fame and glory, and this whole idea of Michael Jackson and skin lightening and skin bleaching himself to where maybe people didn't associate him being black anymore. And I get that he had a problem with that. But the whole idea is there are no black people who are alleging anything wrong against Michael Jackson. It hasn't come from any of his kids. It comes from these people, in this case, the Cascios, who were ardent supporters of Michael Jackson. And now all of a sudden they're saying that this happened. And this is one of the things that successful black people have to understand when you're dealing with other groups who have less money than you. And when I'm talking about other groups, I'm not talking about just other blacks or people in the diaspora. I'm really referring to people who are non-black. And when you're dealing with non-blacks in this situation like this here, there's a reason why the rich and the poor are never together in the first place. And it's because of stuff like this. It's one of the reasons why you see what you see today. And what I would tell all successful black people, if you're dealing with other groups, you just got to understand that everybody's not your friend. And any of these things can happen. People can turn on you on a dime for money. It can happen in the black community but you're really at a loss of leverage when it's non-blacks. And that's what we saw. When you look at these white people talk about the things that Michael Jackson did to them, they're not only trying to damage his reputation, they're using race as a leverage. So this black man who had all of this opportunity did this to these helpless white young people who were just trying to get into the industry. It just looks bad. So I think we can learn from this situation. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy.
Interesting, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. Again, gave y'all my thoughts, so I'm not going to do too much yapping here at the end. Make sure you guys join the Twitch streams. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. My name's Berto. Where you at, Berto? Join the Where You At family so you never miss a live stream reaction. That's the link to that's in the description. I want to see you there in the next one. I'll see y'all.
Where you at, Berto?
I made this shit look sweet.